war you ever fought, every dream you ever had, every success you ever had, every failure you ever had, every altercation you ever had, everything had a starting point. And the starting point definitely was not in your hand, neither is it in your leg or in your stomach, but actually in your mind. So, what is the mind? What is your mind? And then, where exactly is it located? Where is the locus of control? And why is it sometimes it seems as if your mind is controlling you? So, this video is out, and this time is out to show you more and to enlighten you more about your mind so that you know how to manage it. The human mind is not a physical organ, it is a functional system. The brain is the hardware, and the mind is the software that runs your life and your system and your lifestyle. Your mind is the totality of all your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, your beliefs and belief system, your perceptions of things and life, your intentions, and your consciousness. That is how conscious are you about yourself and about things that operate in your environment. In simple times, the brain is what you have, and the mind is what you experience. That is why two different people can go through the same experience, but their response can be totally different. So, where is your mind located? This question has been asked by scientists and philosophers over the years. However, it's been discovered through neuroscience and psychology that the mind does not have a physical location, a particular single physical location, just like your heart or liver. No. However, the brain is a biological base. Just like you say you have the supercomputer, is like or the nucleus of the cell. So the brain is a biological base for the operation of the mind. And the nervous system helps to spread its effects, its decisions throughout every part of your body. That is why when you experience fear, it tightens your chest. When you experience stress, you have headache, depending on the level of the stress and your perception and the way you deal with it, respond to it, and you manage it. And anxiety causes tightening of your stomach. You know, your stomach behaves one way when you experience serious anxiety. So the mind operates through the brain, but expresses itself throughout every part of your body. You can be relating with that now. So what's the control? Let's have a look at the control center now. Your mind has layers, okay? And each layer controls something different in your life. You have the conscious mind. The conscious mind deals with the logic. Say, be logical now, be logical now. Come on, let's look at the logical angle. The conscious mind deals with your decision making based on your level of logical reasoning. Then the conscious mind also deals with your awareness of yourself and of your environment, of the situation that's playing out. And your active thinking. All these are part of the conscious mind. Then we have the subconscious mind, which deals with your habits. You can see your habits play out of your subconscious sometimes. That's why habits are difficult to cover because it's produced from your subconscious. It has gone beyond the control of your conscious in this instance. Then your emotions. So if you learn to control your mind, you'll be able to have some control. That's why I say some people can control their emotions better than some others. Their emotions take absolute control of everything. Once they get angry, once they're excited, their excitement take over, whatever. So this is why it's powerful for you to understand your mind and the way it operates. Then your memories. What you store in your subconscious, what happened here, what happened there, what happened last year, what happened in years past. You can say these are some of the things that nurse and nourish your life. Then your beliefs and belief system and your automatic reaction, what you call the reflex action. So here is the truth. Some people miss, some of us miss. Your conscious mind does the thinking, but your subconscious mind runs your life. I repeat, your conscious mind does the thinking, but the subconscious runs your life. That's why you have to be careful. What are the things you allow to proceed from your conscious to your subconscious? The more you ruminate about a particular thing, the more you give credence to a particular thing, the more you stress yourself about a particular thing, the more you are pushing it in your subconscious. So be careful the things you put into your subconscious from now. So if you deliberately train your mind, it will operate on the subconscious with the control, with the oversight function of the conscious. But if you deliberately fail to train your mind, it will operate on past experience. That it is what is the subconscious that be playing out. Your fears, your learned patterns, and oftentimes this one will go on without your permission because it's coming from the subconscious, which is overruling the conscious. But once you learn to train your conscious and the subconscious mind, then your mind will not go on automatic play, what we call auto play. So how does the mind operate? The mind operates through cycles. It starts from your thoughts. That's why the Bible says, be careful what you think about. Be careful what you think about. That's why the Bible says, guide your heart with all diligence. Out of it are the issues of life. Your thoughts will give birth to your emotion. Your emotion will now give birth to your behavior. Behavior will now give birth to your habits. Your habits, which occur over time, will now determine your character. And your character now determine what is called your lifestyle or the life outcome. Okay? So, for clarity, let me go over it again. Your thoughts will breed your emotions. Your emotion will breed behavior. Behavior will breed habit. Habit will breed character, and character will now become your lifestyle, which is a life outcome which is evident to everybody, which plays out sometimes unconsciously. So a repeated thought becomes your belief. A repeated thought becomes your belief. That's why be careful what you give your attention to. That's why it is Zig Ziglar that says, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. If you believe you're a failure, you've already failed. If you believe you cannot make it, you've already failed. But if you believe that there's life for you, there's hope for you, then, so your mind, that's why many years ago there is a wrestler called Hulk Hogan. He refused to give up. He has trained his mind. No matter how you beat him, no matter how you punch him, he will start to shake, he will start to shake, he will start to shake. Then his mind will help him to absorb all the hitting. Then it comes out to overcome at the end of the day. So your repeated belief system becomes your habit, because that what you believe, it now becomes part of your lifestyle. So be careful of what you believe. That's why you don't give credence to everything you see, everything you experience. Your life is more than the immediate. Your life is more than what you're experiencing immediately right now. That's why Yoruba say, "Ẹni tó kú ní tiẹ̀ tán." It's only the dead that doesn't have hope. But once there is life, there is hope. That's what the Bible says, there is hope for a tree when it's cut down, because with the juice of heaven, it will sprout again. So whatever you may be going through in life, train your mind. Have good, work on your belief, work on your mind. Know that as long as the Lord lives, as long as the sun shines, as long as the red blood still flowing in your vein, then you can still be a better joy and blessing to humanity and to your community. Every human being is designed to be a blessing and a joy, and your case must not be different. But it depends on how you operate your mind. Okay? So, thank you for reflecting with me. This is Nisinuga Reflections, a channel that is dedicated to your well-being, to your joy, to make sure you have a good and better relationship with yourself, because this thing starts with you. You know, when we talk about the mind starts with you. You cannot relate with others better than you relate with yourself. That's why they say you cannot give what you don't have. If you are not happy, how can you share happiness? If you are not focused, if you don't have vision, how can you share your vision? How can you be a sort of encouragement when you yourself, you have already accepted defeat? You've already believed that, well, no. That is why. So your repeated habits now become your lifestyle. So be careful of what you practice as your habit on daily basis. And if you be careful of what you practice as your habit on daily basis. So choose to work on your mind. So on an unmanaged mind, untutored mind, unguided mind slowly becomes unmanaged life. If you allow your mind to be disorganized, your life will be disorganized. If you allow your mind to be confused, your life will be confused. If you allow your mind to look at the bright side of life, you can see that your life will start to become better and better. You become to be happier and happier with yourself. That is what is done in psychotherapy and in counseling. We let you see that as a human being, you have blood in your veins. Like I used to tell my students, they say, I'm not that smart. Okay, you may not be like Chukuma. You may not be like Rafia. You may not be like Cecilia. You may not be like Taiwo or Kende. Okay, what's your name? You tell me your name. That means at least your memory still has some good capacity. Okay, do you know the way back to your house by yourself? What is the color of your house? Is it a story building or a bungalow? Or multi-story building? You can tell me that. What did you take last? That means you have a good memory. Then I ask, it may look simple to you, but still a function of the brain. I say, what is 2 plus 2? You say 4. What is 2 minus 2? You say 0. Because you cannot do simple algebra, then you know, okay, it is step by step. The brain has different levels of operation. So that's why you cannot operate at I cannot operate at your level. That's why we have principle of individual differences. So the mind is a very important aspect of your life. It determines your whole being, your totality, as we have said. The biological seat is the brain. But just use that as a place of operation. So your brain is the hardware, just like you have the computer. But you know the computer is useless without the software. That's why, but if whatever software you put in the system, what the system will operate on. That's why there's a garbage in, garbage out. Then you say good things in, good things out. So when you work on your mind, then your system will bring out something that is really worthwhile. So once again, please give thumbs up as you're reflecting with us to enjoy this session so that we can continue to encourage each other more. So your mind works by association. You know, Eric, we talk about association of ideas, like because like. Okay, let me give you an example. Say, okay, this one happened this way, that one happened that way. Therefore, you know, that's where logic comes in. Through association of ideas, association of thoughts, association of similarities. That's why I say you should have learned from that experience. So you compare that experience, what happened there, with what's happening now, with what's happened somewhere else. Then you try to see the similarities, you compare and contrast. You can see we work through association. Then it comes to a decision. It obeys through repetition. So whatever is repeated over and over again, it stores it. Then it tries to analyze it. Through emotional intensity, what your emotion dwells mostly on. You remember we said earlier about the subconscious. So whatever your emotion is focused majorly on will be processed into your subconscious. That's why you learn to control your emotions. Don't get too excited. Even when you get excited about some things, try to just control it. So if you watch, that's when I watch movies, I try to pick some of these things. Like film of Denzel Washington. I like that. Go and watch Equalizer. All the series, Equalizer 1, 2, and 3. You see that Denzel, even though they have done something that displeases, make him angry, then his eyes will be calculating. That is emotional control. So much more than that, every time you find yourself trying to control your emotions. Good times and bad times. When some things are good, something may be like, some people may be trying to toast you, just get you excited, to get you off your feet, so that you make some decisions, but you don't know that what they are saying in their mouth, what they are doing, is not exactly what they have in their inner. It's not what they plan to do tomorrow. So you don't get too excited. Try to read between the lines. You can see the power of the mind. So through environmental influence, that's why you have to be conscious of everything that happens in your environment. That's why you study science in school. Your environment is made up of both the living and non-living things around you. So you have to be conscious of that. So these are some of the things that fuel the materials that make your mind to become what it is. So that is why what you watch, the kind of films you watch, the kind of music or things you listen to. That's why in Yoruba we have a proverb. They say, tí etí ò bá gbọ́ yìnkì, inú kì í bàjẹ́. Tí etí kò bá gbọ́ yìnkì, that's when your ears don't hear rubbish, your heart cannot be sad. If your ear don't hear bad news, nasty news, then sadness cannot come to your life or your heart. That's why the Bible says in Mark 4:24, say, be careful what you hear, be careful what you listen to. And the Bible even advises somewhere in Ecclesiastes, he said, don't listen to everything you hear. I repeat, don't listen to everything you hear, because you may hear your servant curse you, because you have cursed somebody else somewhere. So when you hear those things, you will learn to know how to manage it. Because why? You're in better control of your mind and of your life, because you know that whatever you think about will become your habit, and your habit will become your behavior, and your behavior will become your lifestyle. So the goal is not to stop thinking. The goal is to direct your thinking appropriately. So think about daily matters. Okay? And your daily matters that you give appreciable thought to is better than motivation, because your mind controls the very essence of your being. So how do you now direct your thinking? Let me just give you the guideline. Number one is awareness. You cannot control, you cannot direct what you are not aware of, can you? So the first thing is you have to be aware of your environment, like we said, aware of the things you hear, be aware of the film you listen, you watch. If you see this one is not working, the message content or the characters are not there, you switch off, get something else to do. Be careful what you read, because your thoughts process these things, and some of these things go to your subconscious. That's why when you hear something, you cannot say you didn't hear it again, because from your consciousness, some of it have gone to your subconscious, and it's not in your subconscious. That's why when you watch a film, or you've listened to a music, or you have something before, even after many weeks or many, when you come across, when you watch that thing when you are saying that thing again, or when you hear that. See, I've had this music before. I've seen something, I've had something, I've watched something, I've seen a scene like this before, because it's already, without your know, it's going to your subconscious. So your thought discipline. It's not every thought that crosses your mind that you should give credence to. Like I said earlier, once you process the thoughts, the energy you give to it will process your subconscious, and you don't know if the thoughts are negative. What it will breed may be something you don't like. It may breed hatredness, hatred, malice, some unholy thoughts, and so on. And it may build affection towards what you are not supposed to have affection for. It's not everything you develop likeness for before you like something that may wound you or hurt you. Okay. Now, so your emotional regulation, I've said that also earlier. You have to learn to regulate, to control your emotions. Happiness, yes. Like somebody shared a proverb with me many years ago. Ó ní tí a bá ń dunnú kí a máa pa ìdùnnú mọ́ra. That is, if you are happy, try to control your happiness. Because ibi tí ẹnìkan ti ń dunnú lẹ́nìkan ti ń banújẹ́, as you are expressing, the people are nursing some pains. And the Bible says, rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. So try to work with this consciousness, so that your life is supposed to be a source of encouragement, a value adding, a source of joy to others. Whatever God has given you, whatever you are able to enjoy in this life through your effort and through the blessing of God, it's not for you to use it to oppress others or to make them feel somehow. So your emotional regulation is very important, and that also, that's what I said earlier. Your environment, you consider your environment before you do some things. And your mental input. So guide what enters your mind. Guide what enters your mind. Like I said, the media. A lot of things are on the media now, especially on this internet. Once you go to some app, they bring in out some immoral, some unholy, ungodly pictures, ungodly statements, ungodly adverts, and so on, that may corrupt the mind if you are not disciplined in your mind already. So you come across all the things, just flake away. Like Yorubas have another proverb. You say you cannot stop the bird from flying over your head in the sky, but you can stop it from making a nest on your head. Yes, if birds are flying overhead, you cannot stop them from, let's say, you cannot fly over my head when you are walking on the street. The sky is for everybody. But for it to not come and sit on your head and say you want to make his nest, you have to say, no, you cannot. Shake it off. That is the spirit. So the conversations you engage in is very important. That's why when you read the Bible, it makes you to be wise. Psalm 1, it says, blessed is the person, is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the wicked, nor sit in the seat of sinners, nor walk in the way of the scornful. But his delight is the law of the Lord. I say, show me your friend, I will show you who you are. Bible says, he that walks with the wise will be wise, but the companion of fools shall be destroyed. And he said, he that lives the way of understanding shall dwell in the congregation of the dead. See, that's wisdom. So you have to be careful of the kind of media you allow yourself to engage in, and the conversations you engage in. Not everyone, not everything you have to respond to. If you see that the environment they're discussing is not, shut up and try to leave. You can't leave the place, block your ear, engage yourself something else. Shut out the thoughts. Then the kind of music you listen to. The kind of music you listen to. It may sound good, but check the lyrics. Like one lady many years ago, I can't remember her name exactly now. She wrote a music with the lyrics and took it to her mom. And by the time she presented, your mom said, "Oh, my child, the music is good, but the lyrics are bad. You cannot sing that song, my dear." Then the girl went ahead and produced the music. What he talk about? He's talking about immorality. Thinking about how long ago you went in disobedience to the principle of morality and with what your parents have taught you. Your mom said you cannot sing that song. So the kind of music you listen to can't. Like those songs sung in those days by Donald Songs, many others have been sung, so be careful. And be careful of the environment you operate in. You cannot be in an environment where drugs and illicit drugs and substances are pervasive, and you expect to stay clean for a long time. Even now, it's been proven that even if you stay in an environment where cigarette is being smoked, even you're inhaling it passively, secondarily, can it still have effect on your body? That is part of the reason why smoking of cigarettes has been banned in public spaces. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. God bless you. So, consistency. The mind changes through repetition. We said that one earlier. So, engage your mind positively and let positive things rotate and go in your mind. I am a better person. I am an agent of positive change. My life is a blessing and I be a blessing. What they call positive affirmation. Yes, you are not just gassing. Because as you are saying, you are pressing to your mind. This is when you perceive yourself. Like the Bible says, even though your beginning is small, your end shall be great. Your beginning doesn't mean it means what you are starting with now, as at this moment. Maybe your physical training, you can jog 10 counts. It's small. If you are squatting, you can squat 5 squats at a stretch, make 2 repetitions. But over a week, this will increase. The same thing in spiritual, the same thing in finance, the same thing in other aspects of life. Beginning small, be sure you will grow. So the mind goes and develops through repetition of what you desire. That is why don't dwell in the tent of wickedness or malice or negativity. Positive mindset, growth mindset. What you see, sometimes they say is what you get. Like the Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So what do you think about yourself? That's why in psychology and in counseling, we talk about self-concept and self-esteem. Second, how do you see yourself? Who are you? And what do you want to be? Then self-esteem. How do you value yourself? What value do you place on yourself, on your personality? That's why you don't allow anybody to watch you down. It's not a content of what you wear. It's not a question of how much is in your bank account. But it's a question of your personality, your well-being, your mental faculty. And that is the essence of it all. Is the quality of your mind. That's why the Bible says in Timothy, he said, we are not of a poor mind. But he's giving us mind that is of power and of authority and that is sound. So dwell on that. And thank you once again for reflecting with me. God bless you till we meet again. Have a blessed day and operate with that outstanding mind. Thank you.